What's up, everybody? Welcome to the channel and the video review of the FuriBee Q90, the 90mm micro brushless FPV racer. Now, taking a look at this bad boy here, it looks very familiar to a quadcopter that I have just done a review on. As you can see, the side plates are made out of aluminum and they are in kind of a purple color, very reminiscent of the FuriBee GT90. Let me go ahead and bring that bad boy out here and compare them side by side. There it is. The GT90 on the left and the Q90 on the right. Even though they are sharing the 90mm wheelbase, they are a lot different in size, as you can see there. Now this one here comes with the 5-bladed 1935 props, and the Q90 comes with the 1835 bladed props. So right there, right off the bat, that looks a lot smaller on the right, but the frame is a lot different as well. So as you can see, the GT90 has a wheelbase from front to back that is a lot shorter than side to side, but on the Q90, the front to the rear wheelbase is almost the same as a side to side. It is still, however, slightly shorter from front to back, so it doesn't quite meet the true X frame configuration. Now the frame itself is also just 1mm in thickness as well, just like the GT90. As you recall, the GT90 was just 1mm in thickness, and it shares that as well. Now the motors on the GT90 were the 1104 7500 kV motors, while on the Q90 we have slightly different style of motors, but it is nevertheless the same, the 1104 7500 kV motors. So they share the same motors, but they have different body style and frame configuration and different props. Now, those are the two main differences, but there's still another main difference. Now, the GT90 came with this nice CCD camera that looks very similar to the Runcam Micro Swift, and it had a VTX, or it has a VTX that is floating. It is not tied down with any screws, a smaller VTX, and it has the ESCs and the flight controller in a double stack formation there. But on the Q90, we find that the camera is just a CCD camera, or excuse me, the CMOS camera, and we have a 3-level stack, whereas the ESCs are on the bottom, the flight controller is in the middle, and we have a VTX mounted together in a 3-stack formation. Now this VTX is a 5.8 gigahertz 40 channel VTX as well, but this one is a switchable VTX. It is 25 milliwatt and 150 milliwatt switchable, whereas the GT90, it is fixed at just 25 milliwatts. So in actuality, the Q90 has a better VTX than the more premium brother of the GT90. So that is another main difference as well. Now this one came with a DSMX receiver, which I changed over to the FrSky AC800. This one, however, are available with different types of receivers. The one that I've gotten here is the Flysky receiver, so that is another difference there. Now this one comes with a Velcro strap already installed, and there's 4 small rubber tabs, the sticky type of rubber tabs, stuck in a formation, so it holds onto the battery very, very securely. So that is very nice, and these are some nice Velcro straps that works very well. But the GT90 came with some rubber bands, as I recall, and this is the Velcro strap that I took off from the SPC maker and installed it. So even though this is a more premium brother of the two 90mm FuriBee 90mm configuration, this came with some rubber bands, as I recall, wrapped around this little hook system, and there were 2 rubber bands wrapping around, which I just took off and put this Velcro strap that I got from the SPC maker, and I had to put my own foam pad to secure the battery in place so it doesn't rub against those screws on the bottom. So even though this is a premium, more premium brother than the Q90, well, the Q90 again comes more with better components, not components, but with Velcro strap and the non-slip little rubber pads on the bottom of the quadcopter. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Q90 a little bit closer. So it's got the 1104 7500 kV motors, the 5-bladed 1830 props. Now on the bottom of the 3-level stack is the ESCs, and they are the 4-in-1 BL S 15 amp D-Shot ESCs, and they support 2S. That's what the product page says, but I've flown it with the 3S and it works fine with a 3S as well. The next one above it in the middle of the stack is the flight controller, and it is the Omnibus F3 flight controller with built-in Betaflight OSD. So that is just awesome, and it was pre-flashed with Betaflight 3.1.7 firmware, so that is awesome as well. And if you look on the opposite side, there is the micro USB port, so it is completely open to plug in your micro USB cable to configure your Betaflight needs. And right above it we have the VTX, and it is the 5.8 gigahertz 40 channel VTX, and like I said, it is switchable from 25 milliwatt to 150 milliwatt. And this is how it works. There is a single button to change the frequency and the channels and the power output. So let me go ahead and plug this baby in to show you how you do that. So let me go ahead and plug this baby in. Okay, here we are. We got some light activity going on the VTX. We got some green LED lights and some red LED lights. Now the red LED light indicates which mode you are in. A single blink indicates you are in the channels. Double blink indicates you are in the frequency. And 3 blinks indicates that you are in the power output mode. Now the green light indicates which channel you are in and which frequency you are in and which power output you are in. So right now it's circling through those 3 modes at rest. So if you want to change the channels, go ahead and long press for about 3 seconds. It'll go bright and turns off. And now we are in the channel mode indicated by 1 blink of the red light. And we are in channel number 4. So you can go ahead and short press to change the channels. Now it's blinking 5 times. Press it again, it'll blink 6 times. Okay, so you can cycle through 1 through 8 channels, and long pressing of it will go into the frequency mode indicated by 2 blinks of the red LED light, and at which time it is blinking 5 times on the green. So if I press this button, short press it, it will change to the first frequency. There you go. And press again, the green light will blink twice. There you go. It is in the second frequency. Now to change the power output of the VTX, long press the button again, and the red light will blink 3 times. And the green light right now is blinking once. That means it is set at 25 milliwatts. A short press of it will make it blink twice, and we are now set to 150 milliwatts. Okay, so you can toggle between 25 and 150 milliwatts. And long pressing of it one more time will get you out of the changing mode and go back to the cyclic rest mode. Okay, so that's how you change the channels, the frequency, and the power output of the VTX. Now what I got going on is I removed the 4 screws that was holding the top carbon fiber plate, and by removing those 4 screws you are able to completely remove the top plate here. So let's put that on the side, and now we are able to see the inside of the quadcopter from the top. Here's the VTX antenna, and now we are able to see the receiver, and in this case I have the Flysky receiver, and you can see that there is a bind button. So what we are going to do is bind this quadcopter to the radio by hitting that bind button and powering up the quadcopter at the same time to send the receiver into the binding mode. But first, we're going to go ahead and set up our transmitter first. So let's go ahead and do that. In this case, I have the Flysky FSI6 transmitter. So let's go ahead and turn this baby on. Okay, so I have it already set up to this model, and I got it typed in as FB90. I should have put FB Q90, but nevertheless, it is set on FB90. So let's go ahead and long press of the OK button, and we are in the menu, and go into the system by hitting that OK. Now you're going to hit OK again in model select. You are going to select a open model and get out of it, and you're going to scroll down to the model name, hit OK, and you're going to go ahead and type in whatever name you want to call this model. And then once you have done so, long pressing of the cancel button will save the name. So we are good to go there, and scroll down to the RX setup, hit OK, and make sure you are in the AFHDS2A. All right, so if you go into here, it is on the on position. You can turn it off, and if you turn it off and hit long press cancel, you are just in the AFHDS RX, and that will not work with this quadcopter. So what you're going to have to do is get in here and switch it to the on position and long press the cancel button to select the 2A and to save it. Okay, so let's go and get out of there and get out of there as well. Now we're going to go scrolling over to the setups and enter it. Now you are able to set up the endpoints and the midpoints by going into the sub trim that you do on Betaflight. But what we are interested in here is to set up our auxiliary channel. So what I'm going to do is go on down to the aux channels and hit OK. There's 2 more channels that we can assign because this radio is a 6-channel radio. That's all we need. We got channel number 5 set up to SWA. Now, channel number 5 will be the auxiliary 1, okay? And channel number 6 will be the auxiliary 2. Now, I have the channel 5 set on SWA, and this is the SWA. That will be my arming switch. So that's what I wanted to have, this as the arming switch. But you are able to change to whichever open switches you want by going up and down on here. So you can go ahead and change it to the VRB, A, or none, SWA, B, C, or D. So I'm going to choose SWA, but you can assign any of these open switches for it. So I'm going to choose this one here, and I'm going to hit OK. And that'll take you to the channel 6, which is the auxiliary 2. And that I'm going to use for my modes switch. So I'm going to choose a open switch, either this one, or this one. It really doesn't matter. This is a 2-level switch. These 2 are 3-level switches. If you're going to use angle, horizon, and air or acro, use either these 2. If you're just going to use angle and acro, you can just go ahead and choose this one. But I'm going to assign it to this switch right here, which is the SWC. So that's what I got it set on. But you can assign it to SWB by just going up, going up, SWB or SWD, and select it. But I'm going to go ahead and select SWC, and I'm going to long press the cancel button to select and save those changes. Okay, so let's go back in here to make sure we got it correct. 5 is SWA and 6 is SWC. All right, so we are good to go. Let's cancel out all the way to the main page and go ahead and turn off our transmitter, because now we are ready to bind to the quadcopter. All right, so now we are ready to bind the quadcopter to the remote control. So I got my battery here, and what we are going to do is get it ready to power up. And what we are going to do is hit that bind button, and that is the bind button right there. So I'm going to depress the bind button and plug in the quadcopter at the same time, and at which time the receiver is blinking. So what we are going to do with the transmitter is hit this bind button and turn on the transmitter. And as you can see, the green light is now blinking slowly. It went off and now it's blinking slowly. That means it is bounded already. So let's go ahead and remove the battery cable and then turn off the transmitter. Now let's turn it back on, and it is in the model. So let's go ahead and turn on the quadcopter one more time to make sure that we are bound. Check that out. The green light is solid. That means we are bound. So let's go ahead and make sure that we are bound by turning off the transmitter. The light should go off. There you go. And it is blinking. So it is bound successfully. Now let's do the final test by turning it back on and making that receiver green light go solid one more time. There you go. We are bound. That is how easy it is to bind with the FSI6 transmitter. Okay, so now that we have bounded our quadcopter to our remote control and set up the auxiliary channels on our remote control, now we are in beta flight. We're going to go ahead and configure our quadcopter in beta flight. So I have the quadcopter here, and I have my micro USB cable. So we're going to go ahead and plug this baby in. There we go, recognized by the computer. And we're going to place our quadcopter on a level surface, as much level as possible, and leave it right there because we are about to connect to beta flight. And let's go ahead and press on the connect button. It should automatically connect, but sometimes it is a very stubborn process. No, we are not connecting. Okay, let me go ahead and unplug my USB cable from the computer and plug it back in. And there we go. That did the trick. Sometimes you got to be persistent. All right, so we are in beta flight. And we are in the setups page, and at which time you will want to calibrate the accelerometer. It is pretty level already. I've already calibrated, but that's how you calibrate the accelerometer. But you must put your quadcopter on a flat level surface first. So that is done. We are good to go. Now let's check out the ports page. Okay, we got the VCP on, and we got the UART3 on the serial RX, and that is where the receiver is connected to, the UART port. So that is great. Let's go on to the configuration. All right, Quad X selected. D-Shot 600 is also selected, and I also have the motor stop turned on. So when I'm in angle mode, the motors do not spin up automatically. When I do switch over to air mode, however, this does not matter. The motors do start up automatically because you are in air mode, and we have no alignment on the flight controller board, so that is good. Now I got it set on 4 and 2 kilohertz, and the craft name is chosen as Q90. You can change your craft name right here for your Betaflight OSD. And the receiver, we have it on serial based receiver, and we have chosen the iBus. It was already preset on iBus for the serial receiver provider because we have the Flysky iBus receiver. And nothing is turned on over here, nothing like the black box or anything, or the air mode, full-time air mode. I do, however, have the OSD turned on, and that is all I want, the OSD. And the battery voltage, the VBAT is turned on. I got my minimum at 3.1 and my warning cell voltage at 3.3. So once you have made any of the changes here, you want to go ahead and save and reboot to save all of your parameter choices. And we should reboot, but I guess we are not. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and connect. There we go. We are reconnecting because I don't have the auto connect enabled. So we are back here. So we're going to go into the fail safe. Check that out. It is turned on and it is set to drop. So that is good. So let's go on into the PID tuning, and we are in profile 1, and this is the profile that it was sent with by the manufacturer. It was already preset PID, so we're going to go ahead and run it on these preset PIDs. All I did was put it down from 50 to 30 on the strength of the angle and horizon, and that is just about it. So once you have made any changes here, don't forget to save it. And let's go on over to the receivers tab, and we are set on AETR 1234, and I did give some deadband. I put it up to 4, and I did put some yaw deadband as well, up to 4. And let's go ahead and turn on our transmitter. So right now it is not showing anything, so let's go ahead and turn it on. So there you go, we are set. We are already bound to the quadcopter. So when I move my throttle, make sure that the throttle goes up and down, and yaw, L, the switches work, pitch, and the roll. Hello. Now, why did that go on? Okay. All right. So we are good to go here. All right. So make sure your switches work too. This should be the arming switch, auxiliary 1. So that's working. And this should be the mode switch, which is auxiliary 2. There you go. That is working as well. And the reason why that is working is because we are already set in the modes tab. So to arm, I got to set on auxiliary 1. You can go ahead and choose whichever auxiliary you want, but you want to set on either auxiliary 2 or 1 because this FSI6 transmitter only has 6 channels. So I have set it on 1, and when I switch my arming switch, so as you can see, it goes up to here. So you want this bar to be within the limits of this moving button. Okay, so as you can see, the arming is armed. Okay, now the air mode, I have it on auxiliary 2, and it's all the way to the right, and angle is in auxiliary 2 as well, and it is on the bottom position. So when I flick the switch here all the way to the top, we have angle mode, and all the way to the bottom, it is on air mode. Okay, that is how I have mine set up. Now there's no buzzer or anything, so we don't have to worry about any of that. So once you have made some changes here, you want to go ahead and hit that save button as well. All right, so that is just about it. And now let's go into the motors tab. Now we don't have to do anything here because we are running D-Shot, is a digital protocol, so you don't have to mess with any of the ESC configuration or anything like that. So let's go into the OSD. That is important. Now you can turn on and off all of these parameters here. I just have the main voltage turned on, so I have my main voltage right here up in the middle. You are able to move this baby around to wherever you want, so that is just awesome with your mouse. So I have my fly time on, which is right here on the right, and I have my fly mode, which is right here, and I have the craft name, which is right in the center, and that's how I have it all hooked up. And that is all you need to do. And once you have set up everything, don't forget to hit save as well. Okay, so that is everything that I do on Betaflight. So all we need to do is now test out the quadcopter to make sure it works. So let's go ahead and disconnect and check the quadcopter out. All right, so we have bounded our quadcopter to the Flysky FSI6 transmitter, set up the auxiliary channels on this baby here, plugged in the quadcopter to Betaflight and configured all the modes. So we are good to go. So all we need to do is now test out the quadcopter to make sure everything functions correctly and everything works correctly. So let's go ahead and turn on the transmitter, placing all the switches to its normal position and throttle all the way down. And I got a battery already packed in here with the Velcro strap. Now let's go ahead and turn this baby on. No buzzer, so you can't hear any of the beeper going off. Okay, so we are ready to go. We should be bound. And I'm not sure if I can see the receiver. Yes, I can see the receiver light, as you can see right up there. It is on, and we got the VTX going off, and we got the flight controller light on. So that is all good. So let's go ahead and see if everything works out. Let's go ahead and arm this baby here and see if it powers on. All right. So that is working fine. Now let's go ahead and switch over to air, and it should turn up the propellers automatically because we have the motor stop turned on. So the propellers are not spinning when we arm the quadcopter. It is in angle mode right now, but once I switch over to the air mode, the props should spin up automatically without any throttle. So there you go. So everything is working fantastic. So all we need to do is test this baby out in the field or anywhere else for that matter, and do a little hover test as well. I've already taken this baby out for a flight test this morning, and it was very windy, and that is the reason why I'm doing all this stuff inside. It is very cold and windy outside this morning, but I was able to get a couple of flights in. So I'm going to go ahead and show you some of that flight in action. But basically what you get is this quadcopter. Let me go ahead and unplug this baby here. So what you get is a 90mm micro brushless FPV racer with pretty decent components. The only thing that is missing here are LED lights and a buzzer, but other than that, we have everything that we need. We have Betaflight OSD, which is just awesome. You are able to check out and see what you got in your parameters, in your PIDs and whatnot. In the field, you can change the parameters using your goggles and your radio. So that is just awesome. It is very awesome to have that Betaflight OSD built in. And we have the CMOS camera, so we're not going to be expecting a very good video, kind of like its brother, the more premium quality GT90, which had the CMOS camera, which is an excellent camera, guys. This is just an awesome camera, very clear, and the color clarity and exposure is awesome. But we do have the slightly lower quality version on this one with the CMOS camera, so we can deal with it as long as we can see where we are going. So that is just fantastic. Now, since this thing has a 15 amp ESC, we were able to run it on 3S as well. It did, however, vibrate a lot on both of the flights with the 2S battery and the 3S battery. I did, however, lower down the PID values while I was running the 3S battery, but it still vibrated a lot. And with the 2S battery as well, this thing has a lot of vibrations upon throttle up. With the given PIDs, and I did run it with lower PIDs to try and minimize any kind of oscillations, but it still gave me a lot of oscillations, guys. This one, particularly. I'm not sure what that's caused by. I wasn't able to kind of tone it down, and it was super windy too outside and cold, so I just got a couple of flights in, so that is just about it. So I didn't do any line of sight testing or anything like that because it was way too windy and it was way too cold to do any of the review outside today. So I just got myself to the park, and there was nobody at the park today because it was so windy and cold. So I did a couple of flights at the children's playground. So I'm going to leave you now with some of that footage. So thank you so much for watching, and that kind of concludes my review and bind and set up of the FuriBee Q90. So thank you so much for tuning in and watching. Have a great day, and we will definitely see you again next time.